All right, everybody, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. I've got a quick one for you today. If you follow the channel, I'm not going to say I'm addicted to Copart and their stuff, but I haven't been able to make myself stop buying things from them. And this time I knew it was a gamble, but I finally got one that just, man, bummer. So it's this thing here, and this is the aftermath. I think I have a screenshot here. I'll grab a clip of what it looked like beforehand. Guys, here's this truck and how hard it was hit. I mean, there wasn't a straight panel on it. Amazingly, 3 of the tires are still good. And there's a really good shot. I mean, that passenger side is pushed a good 12 inches back. Whatever they hit it hard. But we still got some good parts out of it. We will be able to use them. You can see my winning bid was $300, and I think with fees and everything it was like $550 total. So I'll make, as long as I can scrap it and sell the rear end for my usual price, then I'll be just fine on this one. But this was by far the most jacked up truck I've bought from them. And as a good reference here, you can see how far back this passenger side frame rail is pushed. This is the front body mount for the core support. And you look straight across, like it's a solid foot back from the driver's side mount. I mean, this thing hit hard. You can see down here where these frames buckle. I mean, we've got a full 90 degree buckle in this frame. So it hit hard, but I put an offer on it as of basically scrap value. I think my high bid was $300. And I wound up winning the auction. So I had to go get the thing and get a good look at it and see what I could harvest off of it. And unfortunately, most of the stuff that I was really hoping was good is not. So I've got the engine pulled out here, and I was really excited because I thought the engine was going to be okay. The intake manifold was cracked over on this side, but otherwise it looked okay. I thought it was going to be all right. And then once I got to pulling it all out of the truck and separating the transmission, this fell off. And who knows what this is? This is the ear where your starter attaches to it. So, unfortunately, that kind of makes the block junk. And we can see down here, there's a substantial portion of the oil pan missing, which wasn't super alarming for me because I mean, I guarantee this thing shut off when he hit whatever they hit. So I wasn't worried about it having run with no oil in it. But without being able to mount a starter to it, this engine is just a parts donor now. So it looks like the exhaust manifolds have been installed relatively recently. That's a nice parts I can use. I'm sure the heads are probably good. Alternator, throttle body, power steering pump, fuel injectors. And this is a 2007 Classic, and it's got the 13mm valley cover bolts. So it should have the really good floating pin connecting rods in it. And, you know, your typical dished 6-liter LQ4 pistons, but I'd be willing to bet everything inside the block is okay. So I'm going to keep this around here, and I'll harvest parts off of them as I need it. It's got a good starter. You know, there's a lot of stuff here that I can still use. The transmission is obviously a rebuilt transmission. It's been painted, but as you can see, the bell housing is all busted up. I think what I'm going to do with this though is I've got some projects planned coming up here in the future that I'm going to need a 4L80. And I mean, I'm fairly confident this transmission was working pretty good until the sudden stop. So I'm going to use this 4L80 and a core that I have on a shelf over here to make one good 4L80 for a future project that I have planned. Guys, I went ahead and pulled the pan off the transmission just to take a look inside. Like I said, I think this thing's been rebuilt recently because it's obviously been painted and it's not greasy, dirty like it's been in the truck for a long time. And sure enough, I pulled the pan off and this is what it looks like. So I do not think there's a lot of mileage or runtime on this transmission. I have another transmission here that is a core. I don't know what the condition of the internals on it is that I want to take apart and have ready, because there's some stuff in the future that's going to result in a failed 4L60 and I want to upgrade it. So I feel confident that I can use the good parts out of this one to make that core a good transmission for what I need it for. Nice thing is the transfer case was undamaged. And this is the, am I remembering correctly, the 263 HD? 261, which is a nice 32 spline input, floor shift, heavy duty transfer case. I'm gonna put that on the shelf because I have another project that I think that might be useful for. And then I harvest a bunch of other odds and ends out of it as well. The throttle pedal, the tack module. The wire harness on the engine was good, undamaged, so it's always good to have a couple of spare harnesses around. The HVAC panel, all the backlights were working. As far as I could tell, all of the controls were working, so those are good to have around. Something that you don't see very often, some of these trucks came with a plow prep package, and this is a little additional button here that you can mount in the dash, factory mount. From the factory, it controlled like a beacon light or something like that, but you can use it to, I mean, run all kinds of stuff. It basically controls you can make it control a relay, and then, yeah, I'll think of something to do with that eventually. Nice gauge cluster. I'm not sure if all the gauges work, but I can plug it into one of my other trucks here and see if all the gauges work and everything like that. Good usable cluster. Good P59 PCM. Good fuse panel. And it's got a good full floating 14-bolt rear end, and actually a really new looking set of Cooper tires on it. 3 of the 4 were undamaged, and I was able to order a 4th, so I'll have a nice set of 16-inch load range E tires for $200 or so. I think the replacement tire was like $220. And overall in this thing, I mean, if I sell the rear end, I typically sell a 14-bolt for $500, and then I scrap the leftovers, I'll get my money back out of it. So even though I'm not able to use the engine, I'm not able to use the transmission exactly how I planned, I will still at least get my money back out of the truck, and I've got a bunch of parts here that I can use for other things, for other projects, and combine with some of my not good parts that I already have to make some other good parts. So figured I'd share it. They're not all huge wins, guys. I knew this one was going to be a gamble based on how hard it hit whatever it was that it ran into. And unfortunately, I didn't hit the jackpot. This is probably a break-even scenario. And hopefully I'll find uses, well, I will find uses for all the other stuff that wasn't screwed up. So just figured I'd share. Try to be transparent with you guys. I don't want to give this false impression that everything I do is a home run and blah, 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 blah. Like sometimes it's, you barely come out even. Sometimes you lose. And I think I'll be fortunate to come out even on this one. And I will say, if you see one smash this bad, unless you can pick it up super cheap, just let it go, because this was the most difficult engine and transmission pull I've ever done. Everything was so scrunched into itself and crunched up. It was tough. I was gonna try to record it, but geez, it would have been a full day's video of Struggle City. So that's it, team. Just trying to be transparent, share some of the break-evens and the losses with you as well as the wins. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.